Hello, Shore Scholars. Today we're going to look at transformations. We've already looked at some transformations in the Desmos activity, but we're going to look at each one a little more in detail. To begin, a transformation is changing the position and/or orientation of a figure on a coordinate plane. We're going to be looking at two words today in the rest of this unit that will be describing shapes. Congruent means that congruent figures are going to have the same angles, which means they're going to be the same shape and the same side lengths. So they're going to be the same size and shape. They just might be in different positions. So same size and shape. Similar means that similar figures are going to have the same angles. So they're going to be the same shape, but they are going to have proportional, so you guys remember proportions from last year in 7th grade? Proportional side lengths. So the size is going to be different. There are 4 basic types of transformations. The first one we are going to talk about is reflection, and that's just going to be a flip or a mirror image. And something that could help you remember reflection and flip is if you look at reflection and how it's spelled, it has an FL in it. FL, and there's also FL in flip. So reflection, flip. And there it can be reflected across the x-axis, so over the x-axis. Or it could be reflected across the y-axis. So when we are naming our shapes, triangle ABC is the original, but the new image is A prime, B prime, and C prime. So you have a little apostrophe after the letter. So again, over here it was reflected across the y-axis, so we have A prime, B prime, and C prime. It's important to pay attention to where the letters are and that you're naming the correct angle. So do you see how this angle right here, that's going to say B. You can't name it C prime. The next type of transformation is a translation. And we've already talked about how that is a slide. And something that can help you remember that it's a slide, look at translation, how it's spelled. SL. There's also an SL in slide. So translation, slide. And this is where the shape is just going to slide across however many units. Again, when we're naming it, it's A prime, C prime, and B prime with a little apostrophe after. This one is sliding down. So A prime, C prime, B prime. And when you are looking at translations, it's going to slide down however many units, or slide right, or it could slide up like it is over here. A prime, C prime, and B prime. Or it could slide left however many units. A prime, B prime, and then C prime. Our next type of transformation is a rotation, and this is a turn. I guess you could remember rotation because there are 2 T's in it, and turn starts with a T. I think this could be one of the trickier ones because it can rotate many different ways. So this one is a 90-degree clockwise rotation. And we'll get more into this when we actually look at rotation specifically, but just so you can see, this is going 90 degrees clockwise. And again, when you are naming your new image, it's A prime, B prime, and C prime. You're using those same, that same notation. Oh, and I guess I should say this is congruent. Everything that we've looked at so far is going to be congruent. And then this one is a 90-degree rotation, but it's going to be counterclockwise. And you use that same notation, A prime. Make sure you're lining it up with the correct spot. C prime and then B prime. So the easiest rotation to me is 180 degrees, because no matter what, it's going to be the same. So if you rotate 180 degrees clockwise, you get this image. And if you rotate 180 degrees counterclockwise, you get that same image. And you follow those same rules for naming it. So A prime, C prime, and B prime. The next one is 270 degrees counterclockwise. And this one, I don't know if you notice, but look at the image above. 270 degrees counterclockwise and 90 degrees clockwise gives you the same image. So you could pick either one if you had to choose. It will be the same thing. And you still name it the same. A prime, C prime, and B prime. So that's 270 degrees counterclockwise. And then the last one is 270 degrees clockwise. So it goes the same direction as a clock. We have B prime, C prime, and A prime. And if you notice, 270 degrees clockwise is the same image as 90 degrees counterclockwise. Okay, for the very last translation is a dilation, and these dilation can be two things. It can enlarge or shrink. And this is where you're going to have similar shapes. They won't be congruent because they're going to be different sizes. So an enlarging uses a scale factor that is greater than 1. So if you look, we use that same notation, A prime, B prime, and C prime. This was our original image right here. And I'm going to count and measure the sides. So here it's 2 blocks, here it's 3 blocks. And with our new image, if I count those same sides, the corresponding sides, this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So notice the change from 3 to 9, and then from 2 to 6. So it's getting bigger. See if you can figure out by how much bigger. The other type of dilation is shrinking. And shrinking uses a scale factor that is less than 1. So you use the same notation with naming it your new image. We have A prime, B prime, and C prime. And I'm going to count my side lengths. And let's see where we're at. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And with our new image, we have 2. And then we have 1, 2, 3. See if you can figure out what the scale factor would be for this one, because our corresponding sides are 3, goes from 6 down to 3, and then from 4 down to 2.